What's up, everyone? Welcome back to King Anime Review, and for this video, I will be reviewing episode 217 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, titled Decision. And the episode started off with the Isshiki Isshiki versus Baryon Mode Naruto Uzumaki fight. But first, Boruto was saved by Naruto. Naruto used his chakra to send Boruto by Sasuke, and then he started fighting Isshiki. And yeah, he first, Isshiki tried to hit him with his cubes at first, and then Naruto basically knocked those cubes away. He punched Isshiki away as well. He actually caught Isshiki at one point with those little tails that's on his back, and he basically held him, and he punched him super far away. And then right before the opening, Naruto, he hit the Rock Lee pose, and he basically told Isshiki, "I'm going to show you what true resolve is." And this fight, the anime definitely did add in some anime original scenes. We got to see Naruto fighting on water. Isshiki and Naruto were fighting on water at one point, and that was in the manga, I believe. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that was anime only. And yeah, the anime added in a couple of scenes. They did explain some things with Naruto's new form as well, as far as basically Kurama told Naruto that he basically shouldn't make any unnecessary moves. And he told him some of the things about the form, since it's using Naruto and Kurama's chakra, and it's basically clashing their chakras together. Anything that it touches, since chakra is connected, it'll also do the same thing to that. Therefore, it's basically limiting Isshiki's life force. Now, I think the anime did leave out some dialogue. For example, in the manga, it was a direct comparison between this form and Sage's Six Paths versus KCM. So basically, Naruto asks, what's the difference between KCM, basically Naito's chakra mode, and Six Paths Senjutsu or Six Paths Sage mode? What's the difference between those forms and the Baryon mode form? And that was explained in the manga. So the anime did leave out a little bit of dialogue, because the anime didn't mention Six Paths Senjutsu or KCM, Naito's chakra mode. The anime didn't mention either one of those things in this week's episode or in last week's episode. So yeah, the anime did cut out some dialogue. I think they also cut out the dialogue where Kurama basically told Naruto not to use big attacks, because in the manga, I don't remember Naruto ever using a Rasengan or anything else. Kurama basically said, just don't use big attacks at all, and just, the point is just to hit Isshiki to try to cut down his life force. So don't use a lot of big attacks. Just look at it like a boxing match. Just try to land as many hits as possible. Don't try to use huge big attacks and stuff, and don't use any unnecessary movements. And so he did mention the whole thing about not using any unnecessary movements. He did mention that in this episode, but he didn't mention the thing about big attacks. And as I said, he didn't bring up Sage Mode, or, Sage Mode and Naito's chakra mode wasn't brought up in this episode. So they did cut out some dialogue, which I think is weird. I don't know why they would cut out dialogue. I highly doubt they did it for time reasons, but, it's not a big problem. The overall idea of the form was still presented very, very well in the anime. The point that Naruto, he needs to land as many hits as possible, because Isshiki said in the episode that the hits themselves aren't the problem. I mean, well, no, he said the force of the hits aren't the problem, but getting hit by them is. So that's basically what Kurama was saying, that Naruto had to hit Isshiki as much as possible. Don't make any unnecessary movements and stuff like that. So yeah, the anime did cut out some dialogue, but the overall point of what was going on in the manga was still presented well in the anime. And then at one point, Isshiki looked at his chakra, and he noticed that his life force was going away. He said that he should have had over 20 hours, but Naruto cut it down to just under an hour. I believe he said under 30 minutes. So yeah, overall, I really like the anime original scenes with the fighting. They added, and like I said, they did have Naruto use the Rasengan. I don't think he used any attacks in the manga besides just regular taijutsu. And it was cool to see him hit that Rock Lee pose as well, especially since he's doing mainly taijutsu as well. That was a pretty that was a pretty funny thing. But yeah, so he did use the Rasengan. I'm pretty sure that's anime only. But yeah, he used the Rasengan. So, and then he was just basically beating up Isshiki while he was in his Baryon mode form. But then Isshiki noticed that his form started to fade away, and it was basically turning on and off. Sasuke also basically was commenting on the fight, and he basically said he basically said Naruto's beating up Isshiki, and he didn't know that Naruto had this power. Naruto never told him about it and the reason Naruto never told him about it is because he just found out about it in the last episode. So yeah, that's what happened, and then Sasuke was just impressed with Naruto overall, and yeah, but then basically what ended up happening was Naruto, he tried to choke down Isshiki, but Isshiki managed to choke him and turn him around once Isshiki noticed, like basically after Naruto Baryon Mode started to fade away. But he managed to choke Naruto down and hold him down. And then he noticed that Naruto was connected to Kawaki's chakra, basically. And that whole thing does make sense. We already know that chakra is connected. And the fact that Isshiki was touching Naruto at the time, it would make sense that he would be able to sense Kawaki, especially given the fact of something that we learned recently in the manga, which is the whole thing with Isshiki being able to sense each other, or at least that was the case with Boruto and Kawaki. That's not a huge spoiler. I just want to, mention that to explain why this further explain why this makes sense, because Isshiki was basically could sense Kawaki, and that makes sense basically based on what we've seen in the manga where, Boruto and Kawaki were able to sense each other, and we know that both of them are about 80% Isshiki now. So it makes sense that Isshiki can sense each other, and since Isshiki was touching Naruto, it makes sense that Isshiki will be able to sense Kawaki through Naruto's chakra, which was connected to Kawaki's arm via that prosthetic arm that was, basically connected to Kawaki's arm via Naruto's chakra. So upon sensing Kawaki, Isshiki was able to suck Kawaki out of the dimension. He was basically able to drag Kawaki out of the Leaf Village via a portal and basically bring him into the dimension that they were in. And once he did that, Sasuke and Naruto told Kawaki to run. Boruto also noticed Kawaki was there right before Boruto passed out. And then, Sasuke and Naruto told Kawaki to run and buy as much time as possible and go hide and stuff like that. Sasuke, he came in clutch. He saved Kawaki right at the right time, and because obviously Isshiki was trying to implant another karma seal on him, but Sasuke switched places with Kawaki and he told Kawaki to run away. He also used a smoke bomb that basically negates clairvoyant powers or obstructs clairvoyant powers. So it basically, the smoke bomb actually, because it had some type of mineral in it that made the Byakugan useless pretty much, because it obstructed clairvoyant power. So it wasn't a normal smoke bomb, because if it was a normal smoke bomb, Isshiki thought that the Byakugan would be able to see through it. But then Isshiki, he tried to use his rods his black chakra receivers, his black chakra rods, to figure out where Kawaki was. That was an anime original thing, because in the manga he didn't use he didn't do that little technique in the manga where he put all his rods together and then tried to scatter his rods across the battlefield to see where Kawaki was. He didn't do that in the manga. I think it's kind of weird that he did do that, because he did risk killing Kawaki if Kawaki actually got hit by one of those, or maybe he was gonna. I don't know. It's just kind of weird that he did that. But yeah, Kawaki, he ran away. He started to hide, and then Isshiki basically told Kawaki that if you don't come out in 20 seconds, he was gonna kill Naruto. And Kawaki, he got a flashback to his past of when Jigen put him in the same situation with his fish, and when Jigen basically forced him to come out by counting down to basically, because he was threatening his fish life. And yeah, he got some bad flashbacks of sometimes with Jigen and how Jigen was abusing him, and it was just a very sad flashback. In general, Kawaki was tortured as a kid, and he was abused mentally and physically, very similar to Sasuke, how Sasuke was abused by Itachi. And yeah, it was just a very sad flashback. And yeah, so obviously, so Isshiki was reminding Kawaki of Jigen, and then Kawaki actually got a vision of Jigen counting down as well, but then he got a vision of Naruto and how Naruto basically comforted him and told him basically your pain, you're safe now, and told him basically your suffering was over, you're safe now. He got a flashback of that scene where, or kind of like a vision of that scene where Naruto, was in a flower shop, and he basically told Kawaki, you're safe now, and gave him that little hug. So, yeah, and then after that, Kawaki, he decided to come out, and yeah, and that's where the episode ended off. Kawaki decided to come out. He got a couple flashbacks as well of when Naruto was telling him that all chakra was connected, and that he also had chakra, and that he has chakra, and all chakra is connected, and that flashback where Naruto made Kawaki a student, he got those flashbacks. So yeah, he got a couple flashbacks of Naruto, and then he decided to come out, and he said that, a world without the seventh Hokage is not a world that he doesn't care about. A world without the seventh Hokage is worthless to him. He'd rather be dead than be living in a world without the seventh Hokage. That was like his internal monologue from the preview. Yeah, that's what we seen in the preview. So overall, that's what happened in the episode. I think the episode did an amazing job at adapting the story from the manga, as always. I think they prioritized the fight more so than dialogue, because like I said, they did cut out a little bit of dialogue that Kurama had basically a little bit of dialogue between Naruto and Kurama, where the Nine Tails, Kurama was basically further explaining Baryon Mode. So they cut out a little bit of dialogue between Nine Tails and Naruto where that we're talking about Baryon Mode. So other than that, they didn't really cut out much, but they added in more fight scenes. So I think they prioritized the fight as opposed to the dialogue. Overall, the message of what was going on and stuff, it still got across very well. And I think they did a fantastic, amazing job with the episode. So the story for the episode, as usual, was a 10 out of 10. Amazing. The story was handled amazingly in this episode. The art was a 10 out of 10, and the animation was a 10 out of 10. Overall, this was a 10 out of 10. Amazing episode. One of the best episodes in the entire Boruto Naruto Next Generations anime. And yeah, overall, it was absolutely amazing. I can't wait for next week's episode where we're going to be seeing Kawaki. I'm not going to spoil. Well, actually, we're at the end of the review at this point, so I might as well, go into spoilers a little bit for the anime only. You might want to click off at this point. But yeah, I can't wait to see Kawaki, finally using ninjutsu and stuff in next week's episode. Actually, next week's episode is going to be adapting one of my personal favorite chapters of the Boruto manga, and that's the chapter where Isshiki was finished off by Kawaki, and Kawaki actually used ninjutsu. He actually used fire style as well as shadow clone jutsu. So he used basically Naruto's. The first technique that Naruto ever used, the first jutsu that Naruto ever learned was shadow clone jutsu. And the first technique that Sasuke ever learned, the first jutsu Sasuke ever learned, was fireball jutsu. And Kawaki used both of those in the chapter that will be getting adapted into the anime next week. He used fire style and he used shadow clone jutsu, which I think is very, very cool, because I've always viewed Kawaki as sort of a mix between Naruto and Sasuke. Of course, he's his own character and stuff. He's not, literally a mix between Naruto and Sasuke. Of course, he's his own character with his own backstory, his own character development, etc. But in terms of I just always got a Naruto and Sasuke vibe from him, because he's very cool like Sasuke, but also like Naruto. Like, he has a lot of their cool characteristics. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was very cool to see him use both both of their signature abilities. And it was also very, very cool and satisfying to see him finally finish off Isshiki. And this week's episode obviously set, next week's episode up amazingly, because they gave us that flashback, and, the flashback of Kawaki talking about ninjutsu and asking Naruto to teach him how to do ninjutsu. Obviously, that's setting up him using ninjutsu in next week's episode. So overall, like I said, a amazing, tremendous, fantastic episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. I cannot wait until next week's episode 218, and Ishiki's gonna be getting finished off, and I can't wait for it. Kawaki's finally gonna get his revenge on Jigen / Isshiki, and it's long. It's been coming to him. Ishiki's finally gonna get what's been coming to him this whole time. And yeah, with that being said, If you guys like the video, please drop a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that channel notification bell to be notified on all of my future videos. Drop me a comment and let me know what you thought of the review and of the episode in the comment section below. And share the video all over the internet. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.
Every promise I've been praying for.